Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys through my skincare routine, as well as I'm going to be putting on a glam green eye makeup look in honor of it being the day after Thanksgiving and getting into the holiday spirit. So for starters, I always think it's very important to start with a clean canvas. So I have already washed my face. Now I'm going to go in with my Glow for a Cause moisturizer. This is a great moisturizer because it's thick and very hydrating. I got this in my Ipsy subscription and I can't wait to get a full size. It is awesome. And I always think it's very important to, when you are putting any kind of product on your face, you're always going in upward motions, not dragging it down, because this will help lift up your skin, whereas that will help drag down your skin. Alright, and then after I moisturize, I usually let that sit in for a couple of seconds, and then I go in with my primer. Any primer will work. Everybody's skin is a little bit different, so you have to make sure that you are using something you like for your skin. I really like the Bare Minerals primer. It helps smooth out your skin and even it out, and it helps make it really smooth for putting on your foundation. I mostly just concentrate my primer right in my forehead area right here, my nose, and right around here. These are where my foundation tends to slip off the fastest because it gets very oily here first. Alright, so after I am primed, I then go in with my Urban Decay All Nighter foundation. This is my favorite foundation. It's very expensive, but I love it. It helps even out my skin, and it's not heavy, but it's full coverage, and I love that. So I put about 2 pumps on, and then I just kind of will then dab it into my skin with my Beauty Blender. Alright, so now that my foundation is laid on, I usually go in with my Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil, and I use this to just kind of outline my brows, and then afterwards, I usually go in with my Benefit Foolproof and my Morphe M158 brush, and I will fill in my brows. I like to outline my brows first because it helps me kind of know where I should be putting my product. Now, brows are really hard to film on camera, so bear with me. Now, I don't just outline, I kind of outline but fill too, so that way when I go in with my Foolproof, I can build it and make it a little bit more shaped. Now, it's okay if your brows don't look perfect because that's what concealer is for. Alright, now that I got them kind of outlined a little bit decently, I go in with my Morphe M158 brush, and I usually dip into the darker shade because I like my eyebrows to be very dominant, and this is actually my favorite part of my whole routine, is doing my eyebrows. And I just kind of will start the dark in the arch and build it out a little bit, and as I'm doing that, I slowly will bring it into the middle of my brow. once that is done, I will then go in with my lighter shade and start building that right in the corner, slowly bringing it into that darker shade. Now, one thing I have noticed for brows is if you mess up your brows, concealer really helps to clean that up. But also, your spoolie on the end of your brush can be your best friend. When my eyebrows look a little too dark, I will just run this through them and it kind of tones them down so they don't look so dark. Alright, so now that I got my brows drawn on pretty decently, I then go in with my Shape Tape concealer. Now, I have been using the light one, but in my Ipsy package, I got the fair shade, and I actually have really liked it because it's a little bit easier. Now, you just want to go in with your flat concealer brush, which if you have Morphe, that is going to be your... With Morphe, that's going to be your M410 brush. This is just your flat concealer brush. And I usually just take a little bit and put it on the base and back of my hand. And then I go in with my concealer brush. And I will, oops, after you fumble and drop your stuff a million times, I will then go in and just kind of carve them out a little bit. Now, I like my eyebrows to look a little bit more natural looking. I don't like them to be very boxy, but I do like them to have a clean line underneath, which tends to be really hard when you're filling them in. Now, it's okay if you get a little bit of concealer too on top of your brow, because you can just take your spoolie and kind of blend that out. Alright, now that they are outlined, I just go in with my Beauty Blender and we'll kind of blend out that concealer. Now, everybody has their own way of doing their makeup and their own routine. This is just what works best with me and with my skin and what has helped me master being a makeup artist. After that, I then go in with my Shape Tape and I start to conceal. Now, if you really like your nose to be smaller, you can bring your concealer up a little bit. I actually like the shape of my nose, so I don't really do that. I bring it up just a teeny bit. And then I also go along the bridge of my nose and do little dotting motions all the way up into here. And then I just do a very little line kind of right there. And then also above my lip. As well as above my lip, I do right here on my chin. I then take my damp Beauty Blender again, and we'll start blending that out. Now, when I do around and underneath my eyes, I actually bring it into my eyes. Those of you who don't wear a lot of makeup, concealer can actually double as a primer too. And it really will help to just lay down a flat base for your eyeshadow. And everyone's skin is different too, so if you notice you need concealer more in one area than you do in another, it is perfectly okay to put concealer wherever you want to cover or where you feel needs a little bit of smoothing. Now, once I am done doing that, I will go in with my, let's see, my Morphe E4 brush. And this is just a contour brush. It is an angled contour brush, and I really love this. And I use the Tarte Pro to Glow palette. This is just a little mini. I really have loved this shade Chisel ever since I've started, because it's not real dark, and I don't like to make myself look fake. I just want to make myself enhance. So I start up here, and then we'll slowly start to bring it down. Now, my reasoning, a lot of people will do their powder before they start contouring. I actually like to contour first, because sometimes if you put your powder, when you put your powder here and here, it will actually help to blend out your contour so you don't have to work as hard. Now I just continue working this in along my cheekbones, and then I will tap off a little bit of the excess and just start slowly blending in my forehead to that contour. And then I will also bring it along my jawline. Alright, as you keep working it in, it's really important that you're blending it out. Alright, so once I finish with that, I will go in with my, this is a Luxie 249 brush, and I will use this to just kind of lightly contour my nose. Now, like I said, I don't like my nose to look smaller. I just like it to be a little bit more enhanced. And I actually like to bring it up a little bit into that area. Around the tip, and right there. Alright, so once you have that done, I then will go in with my Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder and my Beauty Blender, and I will start baking my face. So, I always use the flat side, and we'll dip it in there. And just right along that contour, start doing this. Now this will help so that contour can look a little bit sharper and a little bit, help bring your face in a little bit. And it's okay if you get a little messy with powder, it just wipes off. And then I just do a little bit in the middle of my nose. I don't do a whole lot. Alright, then I go in with my round side, and will then start pressing it underneath my eyes. Pressing it right along the side of my nose and bringing it out. Those of you who don't use a powder, this really helps that if you have a lot of fallout from your eyeshadow, this will help wipe it away without having to use like makeup remover. Alright, so now that my face is getting baked, I will then kind of just do a little bit on my lid. Remember, we have that concealer on there, so this will help so it doesn't crease as bad. Alright, so now for the fun part, we are going to be doing a green eye makeup look. I am so excited for this. I have been waiting to do this. This is going to be very festive for the holidays. I'm going to be using my Take Me Back to Brazil palette. Now, this palette has a lot of different shades. As you can see, mine is well used. And I think I'm just going to use a variety of greens and maybe pull some blues in there a little bit too. And we're going to see what we can do. Now this will go really well if you wear a lot of black. That helps. So the first thing you need to do is develop a transition shade. This is going to be the shade that is going to help blend in your darkest shade out to the corners of your eyes. I am going to go in with this shade right here and start blending that in as my transition shade. Now these are very pigmented, so I just start working it in there. Like, look at how huge that is. And I'll keep working that into my crease and bringing it up a little bit because that's supposed to be your transition shade. And later on, you are going to be doing a darker green in your crease. This is more of like this yellowy green, which I think is very pretty if that's the kind of look you're going for. And I'm looking for Christmassy or just festive. And you don't even have to have a reason to wear bright color eyeshadow anymore. Oh yeah, and I'm blending with my Morphe M441 brush. This is just a big, fluffy blending brush. Alright, now that I got that on, I will then go in with a smaller brush. This is my Morphe M506 brush. It is just a small blending brush. And I am going to dip it into this shade right here. This is going to be my darkest shade that I probably will use. And I will just start blending that into my crease. And it's easier if you start using just a little and building it. It helps build on the product and also help you not have to blend as much because you're only packing it down. These colors are so pretty. This palette is like my favorite palette. Besides my James Charles palette, I really am loving my James Charles palette. Now, any palette with a variety of different color choices will be really good. Alright, so next you need to figure out what you want to put on right here. I usually go in with a lighter shade or a sparkly shade. This palette actually has this really pretty highlighter color right here that I'm thinking of pressing into my crease. Or not my crease, my lid. But I think I might want to darken up the eyes a little bit, so I might actually put in a little bit of this black shade just in the corners. We'll see. So in order to put that color into your lid, I'm going to use my M224 brush, and I am going to grab a little bit of concealer and carve out my lid. Alright, so now that I got my concealer on, I am going to dip into this beautiful highlight shade. It is almost has like a little bit of a greenish hue to it without it being green. And I am just going to start by packing that in. Like, look at that. That is so pretty. Doing the same thing to this side. Just packing it in, working it in. Now that I got that laid down pretty nicely, I'm going to go back in with that M506 brush and dip back into that darker green shade, tap off the excess, and start blending so there's no real harsh lines. And I actually am going to start drawing it more into the corner, so that way it kind of has more of a rounded shape than a wing shape. Now, a wing shape will help somebody with like hooded eyes or really small eyes to exaggerate it and help it make it look bigger. But I really find that this shade or this shape, and when you're bringing that darker into that corner, it actually helps my eyes look a little bit more popping. Just bringing that in. I don't know what everybody has planned for the holidays, but I am super excited for Christmas. I got all of my shopping done in 2 days, and I didn't even really have to go to the store, but I did with my sister, and we went Black Friday shopping, and it was a good time, besides waiting out in the cold. That really sucked. Bringing that shade right into that corner. Now, some people aren't as adventurous as this, and you can do this with any kind of shades. If you just want to do like a purple or a pink, or just keep it simple and just do a white and a black and just blend your black a little bit into the corner, that will really, really help. Alright, now that I got that on, I am then going to dip this same brush, which is my M506 blending brush, and dip into that black, and make sure you're dusting off all that excess. And I'm just going to start right here and slowly deepen this corner, making sure you're not taking away from the green. So the more you blend out, the more that black will kind of disappear into the makeup. But I just want it to kind of darken that corner a little. Now you might notice sometimes you'll have like a little bit where that dark and light meet and it almost looks a little muddy. That is easy to get rid of, and I will show you how. I'm one of those people that I will tell you over and over again, it's okay to mess up and it's okay to have non-blending stuff, because there is very simple ways to get rid of that. Just bringing that in. Bringing it in. One of my eyes is smaller than the other, and everybody swears it's not true, but it is. This eye has a lot less lid space than this eye, and so I almost have to drag things up and bring them up higher on one eye, and it drives me nuts. Alright, now once you're happy with that, I go back in with a super big blending brush, and I will just put that a little bit lighter than what I did right here. So I did that green. So I am going to go in with this yellow and start blending it out a little bit with that. This is my M441 brush. And I will just start going right in there and blending out any of those lines that you see. Now you might be thinking that this doesn't look right, or it's starting to look not cute and look ugly, but once you put a highlighter on, everything changes. It literally will blend everything in your eye together. I just like to go in with a little bit of a lighter shade to blend out dark, because I feel like sometimes dark and light, when they meet, they don't blend, even no matter how much you blend them. And I'm very OCD about that. Just having like a gradient. Alright, so now that my color is on, I am then going to dip my finger back into this highlight shade right here, and I am going to just pop that on my lid right in that little corner, or in the middle of my eyelid, into the corner. I almost love using my finger for this because it packs it down and doesn't do any kind of blending or anything. Alright, so now that that is done, we are going to go and do our lower lash line. I like to work with small brushes when working down on my lower lash line, because you don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to go in with my M431 brush. It's just this little tiny blending brush. And I'm going to go into that yellow shade and just tap off some of that excess and start working into that lower lash. Now the point is to make sure this helps make your eyes look bigger. It makes it look like you have a bigger eye because you're going right under your lash. And so I just kind of bring that in. It's really hard when you're working under the lash, and I'll tell you, when you're working on clients and they start tearing up all your work. Keep bringing that yellow shade in. See how it's starting to make it look, your eyes look bigger and make them look more full and defined. Alright, now once I do that, I go back in, and this is my favorite part, with that little tiny, really round blending brush, and I take in that green, and I just start working it in right in this corner. Blending that in. Same thing on this eye. Blending that darker green, the darkest green you chose, into that corner. And bringing it right in. And I actually know quite a few people who hate their makeup being put on their lower lash line. And I just think it helps so much. Alright, now that that is on, I then will go ahead and take, let me find, those of you who don't know, this is my pile of makeup brushes. All of these. I have too many. I don't think there's such thing as too many, but a lot of people do. I am going to go in with, this is a Morphe M456 brush, and dip into that black shade, and I am just going to pack that in the corner. Right in here. And then slowly bringing it in. Now remember what I said, you can go in with your lighter shade and then blend that out a little bit if you want. I actually like the darkness in the corner. I feel like that helps make your eyes look a little bit more smoky. Just packing it into that corner. Alright, now that that is done, I hate putting black on my bottom lash line, black eyeliner on my waterline, because I feel like it doesn't, it makes your eyes look a little bit smaller. That's what I meant to say. So I use white. This is just, I think this is, oh, actually this is Wet n Wild. It's just a cheap off-brand. I don't wear a lot of looks like this out to work and stuff, so I don't really invest in my white eyeliner, but I am going to, because I've started to really love doing colored looks. Alright, now that I am lined, I will go ahead and put on my mascara. Now, I just use, this is, I think this is Stila Extreme Lash, huge Extreme Lash. I have really long eyelashes naturally, so I don't like to wear falsies. So, I like to get something that will help lift my lashes and make them a little bit fuller, and this has become one of my favorites. My motto is no look is complete without a set of lashes or mascara, and without eyebrows. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing to my bottom lashes. That's really important to be very careful with your bottom lashes, because you don't want them, you don't want to get on that white part. Alright. Now for my favorite part, getting my highlight put on. I am going to take my M527 brush and just dust off my bake. Just Alright, now that that is off, I am going to go in with my Morphe M501 brush. This is one of my favorite brushes. And I am going to dip back into that Pro To Go Glow Tarte palette. And I'm going to go into the color Gleam. And I'm just going to put some of that highlight on and dust off some of that extra powder. And then I am going to go in with my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. And I am going to spritz that brush. This will help lay down your highlight so good. And I have to do a couple of times. I have to go through and just working that highlight in. I always think it's easier to pack on more than take off. So if you realize that you might have put too much on, what are you going to do? You're going to have to wipe it off. But if you put just enough, and you just keep working and putting a little bit of different. Oh yeah, I love this highlighter. This has become one of my favorites. I really like the Anastasia too, but I think that one's a little hard because you have to know your shade, whereas this kind of will work on a lot of different people. Alright, now that I do that, I grab this little flat M433 brush and I dip back into that highlight shade, and I grab my setting spray, spritz it a little, and I will start packing that right under my brow bone. Oh, look how pretty that is. This eyeshadow, I'm actually really loving it. I'm very picky about greens. But just packing that in underneath my brow bone. Oh, yeah. All right, and then I'm going to use that same brush, and I am going to put it into that highlight, spritz it, and just put a little on my nose, draw some attention. And then put it there. Now your nose is really one hard spot to work with because that's where sometimes you get a lot of sweat and oil buildup there. And so what happens is with heat will make it radiate more, so that doesn't help. And then I'm going to go in with another tiny, this is a Luxie 121 tapered brush. And I'm going to dip back into that highlight shade, spritz it again, and just pack that into my inner corner. Doing the same thing to the other eye. This also helps to brighten and make your eyes feel and look bigger, having that. Alright, I am going to go put on some lipstick and I will be right back to show you the final product. Alright, and our last step after I put on my lipstick is going to be my blush. I always save my blush for last because I love blush and I think blush will tie a look all together. I am going to go in with my Morphe M405 brush and my Laura Geller New York. This is, I think, the Baked in Blush and Brighten, yep. And I'm just going to dip a little bit in there. And I'm just going to place a little smile and just kind of work it out. And I use this, I usually only dip once or twice. I don't really dip a lot. Because this is so pretty and so hued that it really works. And with one final couple of spritz, there is our final product. I am loving this. I really am digging this color eyeshadow. I really didn't think I was going to like it, but I actually really like it, and I would really wear this to Christmas dinner. Well, the subscribe button is below, and like my video, and if you want to see more looks like this, comment and let me know. I will see you next time.